Okay. What is today's topic? Today's
Exception
topic
handling.
is exception handling. Okay. So, why it is not valid? Anybody can suggest?
Sir,
Why not
kindly
valid?
share the screen, sir.
Oh, I didn't say. Okay. Here I am creating the class name. What is the problem here? It is
Space in between
hmm,
the two words.
okay. So class name you should not have any spaces. Should be Pascal case. Okay. Okay. So now what is exception and how we are going to handle the exception? If we are not handling the exception, what is the problem? Okay. What is the exception? Okay. Question number. What is the exception? How we can handle the exception? If we are not handling, what is the problem? That question you should understand. Okay. Then you can easily understand what is exception handling. Okay. So you are going on the road. Okay. For example, just for the example sake, I am saying. Okay. You are going on the road uh, with a lot of you are taking all the vegetables. You are going to market. Okay. You are taking all the vegetables and for the Diwali what are the things are you are taking, and in between one bicycle came and it hits your bag. What will happen? Hmm? It just hits your bag. What will happen? And you didn't reach your home. Okay, you are while you are returning to your home, one bicycle came and or some kid or someone came and he hits your bag. What will happen? No answer. You don't know. Hmm?
Sir, all the stuff we bought
No,
will be
no.
damaged and it was spread on the.
Yeah, it's damaged and that bag will fall down. Right. So what happened here? What are the things you bought? Everything was lost, and some okay, and that is the exception, right? So it was lost at that point itself. No, nothing is going to be useful. If you are leaving that bag, you left the bag and you came to home. So everything is lost, right? Because you left at that point itself, right? Some exception occurred at that point, and you lost. The bag was fall down, and you lost everything, and you are not caring about other thing, and you came to home. What happened? Everything was lost. So the same way, for example, that is one scenario. So here, what is happening? Whatever the things you built in between, or whatever the things you are dealing, some accident happened, some exception happened. That might be runtime exception or compile time exception. Runtime exception, just assume. What will happen? You lost everything there, right? For example, some kid came across your way, and he just He met you met with a small accident, right? And you lost the stuff, and but you know how to handle that exception, right? What you did, just a small one, right? You what you are doing here, and you need to recover that. Okay, it's okay. Just you met with accident, and uh, that bag you took the bag once again, and what are the elements, what are the items you lost, and all the items once again you set into the bag, and you came to the home. After coming home, you are going with the other next steps. What are the things you are going to do in the home, right? You are going to make curry or something. All those things you can do, right? Even though here, what is the step you did here, Jabba? You met with the accident and you didn't left all those things there. Once
Sir,
again
we handle the situation.
you handle the situation, right? So once again you took that bag, and what are the items left in that road? You took all those things in your bag and you came to home, and after that what are the things you are going to do? For example, you are making curry or something, right? So you are going with the next steps. When you are going with the next step, if you are handling the situation, if you are not handling the situation, everything is lost. Whatever the state on the road, right? The your luggage kept on the road. Okay. Once again somebody is going, right? He also met with small accident. What happened? He left all those things there. Then what is happening there? Lot of garbage is. What happened in Java? Three or four people met with accident. What is the road condition there? Small problem only. Okay, all are going to vegetable market, and they met with small. On that road, lot of children are there, right? They did small accidents, and they are not handling the situation. What happened? మళ్ళీ ఏమైంది?
Yes, sir.
మళ్ళీ ఒక నలుగురు, ఒక 4 members వెళ్తున్నారు. 4 members కి యాక్సిడెంట్ అయింది. ఆ బ్యాగ్లు కింద పడ్డాయి.
వెజిటేబుల్స్
అన్ని పడిపోతున్నాయి. రోడ్, వాట్ ఈస్ ద రోడ్ కండిషన్? ఇఫ్ దేర్ ఆర్ నాట్ హ్యాండ్లింగ్, దేర్ ఆర్ లీవింగ్ దేర్ అండ్ దేర్ ఆర్ కమింగ్, దేర్ ఆర్ నాట్ డూయింగ్ ఎనీథింగ్ ఆఫ్టర్ దట్.
Road must be in garbage, sir. Road look like a garbage.
Like garbage. Lot of garbage would be collected there. So the same situation will happen in case of our functions, in case of our classes. Due to some problem, right? There might be a chances to get lot of exceptions while writing the program, right? So if you are not handling, the same situation will happen to our classes also. Lot of garbage will be there. Garbage in the sense, in our memory, a lot of unhandled things would be there, right? The garbage would be collected. So the garbage will be collected and handled by JVM, but you should not do that, right? So you should handle the situation. When you handle the situation, you can continue by next steps. Got it? If you are not handling the situation, your program will be terminated at that point itself. Like first scenario, somebody met with accident, and they left all the items there and they stand there. They are not doing anything. Okay? If you are not handling the situation, the same thing will happen in case of exception handling, in case of our classes, right? In our classes we are writing a number of functions. Is there any guarantee whatever the logic you have written, everything always that logic will succeed? without any exceptions? No, right? So when some exception is occurred, you should handle the exception. Then only you are going to continue with the next steps. If you are not handling the exception, what will happen? The program is terminated at that point itself. You are not going to continue with the next steps. And one more important point is, you will get some system generated exception message. What is that? System generated exception message. That system generated exception message won't be understood by end users. You are a developer, you know how to write the code, what is Java, all those things you can understand. But why we are writing the application? We are writing the application for end user. End user in the sense in the whole wide market, right? They don't have any knowledge, technical knowledge. So are they going to understand that exception? Okay, in this function, line number 4, you got the exception. So that statement is going to be understood by anyone outside. Think about the outsiders, not about you. Right? So if you give our daily example, you are going to ATM center, right? Due to network issue, right? You are clicking on the withdrawal, and if you give the withdrawal function give some exception which is not understood by end users, like you got the exception no socket error or something technically related message. So that message won't be understood by end users, right? So what you should have, you should handle the exception and give friendly messages to the end user. By looking at that, they can easily understand. So that is also one more advantage when you are going to handle the message exceptions. Otherwise, what you will get? These logical message you will get. Got it? అర్థమవుతుందా? Message, what will happen if you are not handling the exception? If you are handling the exception, what is the advantages? Right? What is the advantage? Java, can you conclude? What is the advantages if you handle the situation or exception?
Sir, we can get the user-friendly message instead of that exception technical message. We can
Yes.
change into user-friendly message
Okay.
for the end user,
Okay. And
our program will be executed. It will not be interrupted.
our program won't stop at that point. You got the exception, it's okay. If you want to continue, you can continue with the next steps. Okay. And what will happen if you are not handling that exception? If you are not handling the exception, if you handle, these are the advantages. Malli, are you
Sir.
there?
Sir,
What will happen
Sir,
if you are not handling that?
అది చేయకపోతే ఇంకా స్టార్టింగ్ పాయింట్ లోనే అది రన్ అవ్వచ్చు సార్ ప్రోగ్రామ్, మిగతా నెక్స్ట్ స్టెప్ కి వెళ్ళలేము.
Next step ki LLM, that is one point.
వెళ్ళలేము.
And what is the disadvantage? That is one disadvantage. And
ఎర్రర్ మెసేజ్ చూపిస్తారు ఎండ్ యూజర్ అర్థం కాకపోతే.
that is one point. 2 points. Logical message you are getting, right? Okay. And third point, what is the important point? On the road, what happened? 4 people met with accident. What will happen? Lot of garbage would be there on the road. So who will clean? Government of that what is that?
JVM.
Here JVM. Normally municipality people should come until the municipality people will came there. They have to clean that, right?
Yes, sir.
Are you going to wait until that point? JVM is there. Just JVM also garbage collector like municipality people, right? Municipality cleaners would be there, right? They should
Yes, sir.
come and they should clean. Up to that point, are you going to wait?
No, sir.
No. We need to handle that. If you are not handling, municipality people will come and they will clean it. No problem. Okay, garbage won't be there on the road for some time, forever. Municipality people will come and they will clean that. Understand the situation, right? Just example purpose I am saying, you don't use these things in interviews. Okay, you should use the technical terms. So a lot of garbage would be there when you met with some accident. For example, you are creating one class object. You created one object to a class, and after that you called two methods, and at the third method you got the exception. That has happened. So when you created the object, right, the memory would be created, right? So a lot of memory is created, and you accidentally you met with due to some program logic error, you got the exception, right? What is the memory? That memory is not going to be cleaned, right? So if you handle the situation immediately, if you make the memory is empty, means you clear the memory, what will happen? We saved that we saved the work to JVM, right? So and we immediately release the resource, we immediately clean the road, we handle the situation, and after that what we are cleaning also on the road. The same way here also. So that is the advantage. Got it? Exception ante enti, how to handle the exception. What if you are handling the exception, what is the advantage? If you are not handling the advantage, if you are not handling the exception, what is the disadvantage? Clear? Same thing we will see
Yes.
with example. If you are not handling, abnormal termination would be there. And what is the main disadvantage? Lot of garbage would be lot of memory would be wasted, right? Memory would be occupied. On the road lot of garbage is there. Here also we created the objects and it is not cleaned, right? We didn't handle the situation, so a lot of garbage would be collected. Okay, that is the problem, right? So let's see how to handle the exception. So I am creating one function void 0 divided by 10 divided by 0 or something. What is the program name? Divisional, what we can say? Divided by
0. Arithmetic.
Exception is arithmetic, but some name, I want to give some name to that function. I want to divide it by, I am passing two numbers, I want to see the division. Okay, right? The name is okay? Division is a one program I am trying to write. Int A comma int B, two numbers I am passing, right? Okay, this is how we need to write the function, right? Public access modifier, this is static because my method is a static method, so static method only allows static functions here. Okay, so directly I am printing sysout system.out.println A divided by B. right? This is the program. Another statement I am giving for understanding purpose, because whether I am going to continue with the next steps or not. Out dot print line. Here I am giving the message A divided by B is success. Okay, so let's see here. So I am calling the method. I have written one function. I call that function here, right? So division is a function, right? So what is the error here? Anybody can guess? Malli, can you tell me what is the error?
So we cannot assign any value settings. Assign data type.
Assign data type, sir. How many parameters it is taking, Malli?
2 parameters, sir, A and B.
Here?
There is no input parameters.
So what is the problem? You need to pass the input parameter, right?
Yes,
Int
sir.
A in the sense number, right? A is number,
Yes, sir.
10. Okay, I am giving 2 numbers I am passing.
Fine.
Is there any exception? Is there any chance of exception here? Running here. See, 2, you got the 2, 10 divided by 5 equals to 2, and you got the message A by B is success. So you perform some operation here, A by B, right? And there is no exception. You are continuing with the next steps, right? There is no exception here. You continue with the next steps. You successfully completed all those things. No error. Okay. So let's assume this time I pass 0. Malli, what will happen here?
Infinity. Error.
See here, you got the error. We cannot divide some number with 0, right? By 0 exception you got. Arithmetic exception.
Exception.
And see another, so these details, if you are new to these exceptions, all those things, but you got the exception details, are you able to, you just think you are a normal end user? Means you are the customer. You don't have any technical knowledge. So by looking at this exception in your ATM center, for example, you got the same exception in ATM center while operating ATM center. So a common user can understand that message, and
No,
by
sir.
seeing at the red, they will afraid, oh, something is happened, something is fishy, like that, right? So you didn't handle the situation. This is the problem, right? You will get the message, that is technical message. What message you got it? See from down. What is the first function you call? Main function. In the main, line number 11. This is the line number 11. You got the exception. And what is this? Division. There you have division function. In the division function, what is the line number? Exception is Java 16. See, here you got the problem. So what is the problem? Arithmetic exception. So these details, this is called stack trace. It will give whole details. Okay, but end users, they know all these things? Not, right? You handle that situation, you let me know what is the problem have occurred. Okay, like that. So this is the problem when you are not handling the exception. Okay, let's try how we can handle the exception. Okay, if we handle the exception, what is the advantage? And one more thing, that stack as you, every class will consume some memory, right? Due to that problem, the memory should be handled by garbage collector, right? So what will happen, right? The garbage collector, first it will collect all the classes and all the methods. Okay, which class is not used by currently, which classes are not used. Okay, then it will it has a 3 phases would be there in the garbage collector. So first what are the functions or what are the classes it is not using, it will move to one phase. Okay, it will wait for some time. After some time also those classes are not using, it will move to another phase. When it is moved to third phase, at that point the garbage, in the third phase, what are the elements, what are the classes, what are the objects are there, so it will clean that object at that point. So the process by process wise it will clean the objects, right? We should not wait, right? You know, you created one class and you created one function, right? And due to some, there is a chance to get the exception. Yes or no? There is a chance based on the end user's input, right? If he has the knowledge and he passes proper values, there is no problem. But there is a chance or not. When it is up to end user, right? He can pass any data, right? But if you properly written the program and you are restricting the end user without passing 0, right, then you won't get the problem. But always there is a chance to get the problems, right? So let's see if we are handling the situation, how we are handling the exception, or how we are going to handle the situation, right? This is X. Okay, so how I handle, whatever the code I have, all the code I have written in the try block. First step, what you need to do, whatever the code you want to write, all the code you should write in your try block. Clear? After that, while running your code, if you got the exception, here system.out.println, I am giving some exception message. User should not pass 0 as input. I am passing this message, user friendly message, and okay, I am passing like this, and we have the finally block. In finally block, if you created any object for a class, you can release that exception. But here I don't have created any class, right? Directly I call the function, so there is no need to worry. But sometimes here, if you created the object, after that you called some functions, then obj equals to object equals to null, you should say null. Then what will happen? The object would be, the memory would be free. Okay, so that is the situation. This is the handling the situation. Okay, earlier what happened? Did you got the second statement? Point number 2, is it executed? You got the message A by B is success, that kind of message did you got?
No, sir.
No, right? Let's see now. This time also you won't get that message, but it will continue with the next step. The next step we are writing here. Okay. Okay. I am using, okay, for now I am trying to execute the same test.
సార్ స్క్రీన్ షేర్ చేయండి సార్.
చేయలేదా? See here, but you got this exception, the next statements are there or not? You didn't get it, right? See, you got the user friendly message, that is okay, because you got the exception in the at this point, and it is handled by that exception handling catch block. It catch the exception and it's handled the message, and the finally block this is from block, right? And I am writing this statement here. Okay, let's see now. So what are the statements are going to be printed? So still I am passing A is 10, B is 0. So when you have 0, the number cannot be divided by 0, right? So here definitely you will get the chance of exception. So after getting the exception, do I am continuing with the next steps or next points or not? Let's see here. See here, user should not pass 0 as input. Here you got the exception, and one more point, if you observe, you don't see the error message, the red color error message and technical message. You are not getting the technical message because you are at the end user standpoint. So you are sending the message user should not pass 0 as input, right? Then whenever he sees that message, he will correct that here. Okay, and what is the next step? You got the exception, but what statement is executed? This is exception statement you got. So because you got the exception. Okay, but what statement also executed? Finally block, right? What are the code you will write in the finally block? That code definitely, whether you got the exception or you are not getting the exception, you didn't get the exception, in such scenarios also finally block will be executed. Okay, point number 1. because in interviews they will ask this question: what is the advantage of finally block? What is the advantage? We can clean up the resources. That's why we are using the finally block. When you can clean up, whether you got the exception, you don't get the exception. In both scenarios, if I want to clean that code, right, my work is done, right? Whatever the code, whatever the task I want to do, I have written the task in the try block, right? My work is done. After my work is done, I have to release the resource. I created the object for a class. I need to, when I say empty or null, right, that memory is cleaned. So I need to do those kind of statements here. Or you are doing something, you met with an accident or some exception you got, right? At that point also you need to clean that memory, right? For that reason I use the finally block. Finally block always executed, whether you have exception or not exception. Okay. Point number 1. Finally block always executed, whether you got the exception or not exception. But and see, after that you got the exception, you handle the exception here, right? You successfully handle the exception, then the execution won't be terminated at this point. Execution will continue after that also. So here see, that is the reason you got A by B is success here, because this guy handled the situation here. He sent message to user, please pass non-zero value, right? So when he saws the message, this time user corrected that input. What happening? See, you got the correct message. 2, 10 by 5 is 2. Which statement? This time we don't have any exception. So this statement is not, catch block statement is not executed, only finally. This is from finally block, right? And he has some other steps after that. We can perform those steps, right? Clear?
Yes, sir.
So that is the advantage of exception handling. What is exception and what is the exception handling? What is the advantage of exception handling? What are the disadvantages if you didn't handle the exception? If you know, then it is easy handling the exception, right? So exceptions you may occur while writing the program due to some technical problems or logical problems. You will get the exception, right? Error. What is the error?
User undefined.
Undefined, right? It is not controlled by you. This is the exception you controlled, right? So I got
Yes,
this
sir.
system exception. I got this arithmetic exception. I handle like this. I am able to handle. But error in the sense that situation you are not going to handle. It is not in your control. That is the error. Right? Example.
Some syntactical error.
No, that is you can handle, na? Syntactical error you can handle. You know, for example, I have written here something. See, this is syntactical error. Instead of one function, I have written something which is not there. So, syntactical error, it is suggesting you, boss, you are doing some mistake. It is suggesting you. You click here and it is giving suggestions also. Change to println. Syntactical errors, that is the exception, okay? Which something is going to be handled by you, that is the exception, right? Which is not controlled by you, which is not going to be handled by you. You are designing a
User
program.
input, sir.
Hmm?
User input.
User input, that is in your control, na? You are giving the value. One time you given the wrong input, second time you corrected it. that you can handle, right? System errors, for example, you are writing a program, you don't have sufficient memory. For example, you are uploading a video or you are downloading a video in your system, or you are downloading a software into your system, you don't have sufficient memory, right? It is, you are writing a program to download something, right? You are writing a program to download something, some file. While executing the program, you got the message as no memory, right? So memory related issues, your CPU related issues, right? Your system related, anything system related problems, those you are not going to handle right while designing your application, right? Those are the errors, right? Just remember, system errors, those are the errors which is not going to be controlled by you. Exceptions, whether it is compile time exception or runtime exception. Exception in the sense runtime exception. Arithmetic exception is one of the example for runtime exception. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
What is one more runtime exception? Arrays. While working with arrays, do you remember or you forget? Arrays is one program, right? Arrays is index based. So, for example, you have given 5, but you are entering 10 numbers. Index out of boundary. Boundary is 5, but you have given 10 values. What will happen there?
Yes, sir.
At the runtime, at the compile time, it won't give you any problem. But while you are running the application, at the time you are getting the index out of boundary exception. Right? That is the runtime exception. So that is a situation you can control or not. You are going to handle in the exception handling, and you are going to give the message, boss, my array size is 5, but you are passing more values. Then user can easily understand and he can correct himself, right? So that is the handling the situation. Not handling the situation, memory is there. While you designed the program, but it is a system related problem. It is not related to you, to your Java program, right? So that is the error. So have the clear understanding about the error and exception. Error in the sense out of memory. It is a system problem, not your problem, right? In your RAM you don't have, in your hard disk you don't have the memory to store more programs or to download something. You have written a program to download a file, or you have written a program to write the program to write something to your file, right? At that time there is no sufficient memory, it will give out of memory exception. That problem you cannot handle programmatically. I am saying programmatically, right? You can handle, okay, after some time you can go to your file system and you can check, okay, what memory size is there, okay, my memory is occupied, so I can release some unwanted things. You are doing manually, that is different, right? That is the error, okay? Something can be handled by your program, that is the exception. Which something is not controlled by your program, that is a error. Got it? Got the clear difference? What is the exception and what is error, right? So in error we have two types of errors. Sorry, in exceptions we have two types of exception: runtime exception and compile time exception. Okay, compile time exception. What is compile time exception? For example, one example, you are writing one we discussed about the interfaces, right? You have written one interface. In interface you have 4 methods and you created one child class. In child class you implemented only 2 methods. Your compiler will throw the error or it is showing the error or not with red mark, cross mark.
Yes, sir.
Right, Malli? In interface you have 4 methods, but in your child class which is extended, which implements your interface, and it written only 2, you have written only, you have implemented only 2 methods. At that time your compiler will show some exception with cross mark. Boss, you need to implement unimplemented methods. There are unimplemented methods, please implement. That problem. So that is called, those exceptions are nothing but compile time exception. You made some syntax problem here. Print ln, instead of print ln, in between something you added. See here, it is throwing the exception. It is showing the exception. And it is suggesting few things. Either use this one or either use this one. Right? See, like this. So this is compile time exception. Compile time exception is nothing but checked exception. Checked exception. You checked it, right? While checking, you got the exception, that is the checked exception. While running, you got the exception, that is unchecked exception. Okay, the names runtime exception is nothing but checked exception. Compile time exception is nothing but checked exception. Okay, runtime exception unchecked, compile time checked exception. Okay, just a name. Normally in Java, people will ask you the interview, what is checked exception, what is unchecked exception. That question they will ask you. What is your answer? Checked in the sense compile time, any syntactical problems, or one example, you are creating an interface, you have 4 methods, you implemented only 2, at that time compiler will give the exception, unimplemented methods are there. You made some syntactical problems, it will give the exception. Right? So while designing the program, if you see some exception, those are the compile time exception. While running the program, if you are getting some exceptions, those are the runtime exceptions. Clear? So runtime exception, few examples. They will ask you in interviews this question. Give me some examples for runtime exception. What is your answer? Jaba?
Sir, wrong input.
That is wrong,
Arithmetic,
not arithmetic exception. Okay. So you get the exception here, arithmetic exception. If you write here exception, see here, arithmetic exception. Okay. Array index bound of exception, array store exception, class cast exception. These are the runtime exception. Okay, you have created one class, but you are trying to create one more other class which is not there. For example, there is no class. Okay, class B obj equals to new of class B. Actually, it is not there. You got the compile time exception. What is this? This is compile time exception. Okay. So that class is not there, that kind of message. Here arithmetic exception. So you refer few exceptions here. We have that chart, right? From there you can arithmetic exception. Okay. So this is the runtime exception. When you are getting that message exception, while writing the program there is no problem here. There is no syntactical errors. Everything is correct. But you passed some input, wrong input you passed. It is not wrong, but you passed some input. Based on that, you got the exception. So while running the program, you are getting a. At this point, am I seeing any exception here? No, right?
No, sir.
But you are passing some wrong input. You are running. While running only, I am getting the exception. Right? This is called arithmetic exception. I didn't handle here. Let's see. I handle now. That's why. See, in the red mark you will get the exception, arithmetic exception. See, right? So those are the runtime exceptions, arithmetic exception, array out of bound. Arrays, when you got the problem, array and index out of boundary problem, when you got, while running
When
the program,
size is
while running, at the time of running only you will get the exception. While designing, it won't say, okay, whatever you mention the 4, but you give 100, it will accept while designing. But while running, it will say, boss, you have given 4, my size is 4, but you are giving more than 4. That kind of index out of boundary. Okay, those are the examples for runtime exception. Compile time exception, interfaces. You need to explain them. Okay, in interface I have 4 methods, but in my child class I have implemented 2 or 3. Then I am getting a compile time error. Otherwise, I have a function, or I am trying to write a function, but I didn't follow the proper syntax. For example, I didn't given static here, but I am trying to call the function, static function here. See, syntactical error, right? Anything syntactical error. While designing the program, you get the exception. Those exceptions, if you miss some syntax, I said, right, to remember the syntax, right? Those syntaxes, if you didn't remember and you are writing something, right, compiler it will warn you, boss, you are doing wrong, you are doing wrong. So those are the exceptions for compile time exception. Examples for compile time exception. Got it? What is compile time? What is runtime? What is the name for compile time exception? Malli, what is the name for compile time exception? Malli. Malli, are you there?
Unchecked exceptions. Yes, sir.
Checked. Compile time. Compile
Checked.
time in the sense
No.
you are already checking, right?
Check. Yes, sir.
Checked. What is the what is the exception for runtime? What is the name for runtime exception? Malli.
Unchecked exceptions. sir.
Unchecked
exception. Unchecked exceptions.
Very good. Okay. So we have only two types of exception: checked and unchecked. Runtime, compile time. Examples. Bhavani, can you give me examples?
syntactical errors are
Syntactical
compile
errors.
time error.
That is compile time error. Okay, runtime errors. Examples.
Arithmetic exceptions.
Mathematical exception. Array index out of boundary exception. Class not found exception.
Class not found exceptions.
So those are okay. So there is a for exceptions they will follow some hierarchy. Okay, what is the hierarchy? We'll see. Are you able to see the screen? So are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Okay. So refer this one. There are two types of exception: checked exception, unchecked exception. Okay. So built-in exceptions. So these are the exceptions. For example, you are working with SQL exception, IO exception. All these are the checked exceptions. These exceptions when you will get while designing your program.
Compile time.
Class not found, interrupted exception, IO exception, or syntactical problems. Right? You should give the example. Take one example of interface. Talk about, okay, in my interface I have 4, I implemented 2, compile exception I will get. Here arithmetic exception, casting problems, class cast exception, null pointer exception, array index. Two things, array related. Few examples. You should remember few examples from arithmetic runtime exception. Few examples for
Compile time.
compile time exception. Okay. So here, if you observe this one, another, right? So who is the parent for all classes? As per our understanding, what is the parent for all classes?
Object.
Object.
For everything, the parent is object. For exceptions, who is the parent? Whether it is exception or error, who is the parent according to this picture?
Throwable. Sir.
Throwable. Throwable is the parent for all exceptions and errors. For exceptions, who is the parent? Whether it is checked or unchecked. Exception. That's why exception. Throwable is the top parent. Okay, no doubt. For everything, exceptions, the throwable is the final. Okay, and after throwable, which is the parent? Exceptions. Okay, whether it might be checked runtime exception or compile time exception. Who is the parent? Exception. That's why earlier what I while designing, instead of mentioning arithmetic exception, I mentioned exception. So any type of exception, it might be arithmetic exception or it might be array index of out of boundary exception. Any exception, it will come here because this guy is the parent, right, for all exceptions. Or you can use the throwable also. Okay, anything is fine, but okay, we will discuss other points tomorrow. A few other things are so important points are there in the exception handling, the hierarchy, and what are the correct exception, what are the correct ways to write the exception handling. They will ask a lot of questions here. Can I have multiple catch blocks? Yes. Can I have finally block without catch blocks? All those things. There are technical interview questions are there. So, but you should have clear understanding what is exception handling, right? What is the problems will occur if we didn't handle. Okay. What are the advantages if we handle the exception, right? How to write a try catch blocks. And what is finally block? We discussed those points. You should be very clear on these topics.